Gen Z doesn't know how to write a check. They don't know how to address an envelope.
Hiring managers agree Gen Z is the worst to work with.
What? Gen Z's trying to what? Cancel Eminem.
You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh.
You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh. You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh. You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh.
Do you ever feel like you can't fucking joke anymore without having some sissy liberal boys trying to end your comedy career? Or could it be that in a world that is constantly changing and evolving, the things that we used to consider funny back then might just not be funny anymore? There is people out there who think that Gen Z ruined comedy, but to understand this, we're gonna have to travel back in time to the last comedy boom. From the mid-1990s to the early 2000s, stand-up comedy saw its second comedy boom, which many people know as the sitcom era. The sitcom era was heavily marked by some sort of clean, relatable, and observational comedy. Have you ever noticed? Do you ever feel like? What's the deal with? Back then, almost everybody performing at the clubs, they were writing some type of comedy that could also double as the pilot episode for a sitcom. Everyday topics and light cynicism, but honestly nothing too risky. It was basically engineered to make an NBC executive say, yeah, I see that guy living across the hall from a goofy neighbor. Some examples of this: Seinfeld, Ellen, News Radio, Home Improvement. I haven't even watched some of these sitcoms, and I'm not even saying that these are bad. Actually, some of them are pretty funny. And while sitcom comedy was the peak of comedy success, there was also an underground alternative comedy scene that was forming behind this shareholders-friendly style of comedy. A style of comedy that didn't have space in cable TV, at least not yet. Defined by brutal honesty, irony, absurdity, and anti-mainstream ideas. Represented by figures like Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle, Mark Maron, etc. Interestingly influencing the future tone of comedy. The problem with the sitcom comedy is that it became overplayed. You can hear current comedy legends talking about how everybody was trying to be some sort of Seinfeld.
There was too many guys that were just staying in town. And everybody at that time, in the 90s, and it was kind of starting to die off. But there was this thing where everybody wanted a sitcom. That was the holy grail, because you could be Tim Allen, you could be Jerry Seinfeld, you could be Roseanne Barr, you could be Brett Butler.
And after years and years of this style of comedy being played at the clubs and TV and in front of everybody, there was a lack of honesty with it. There was nothing new going on, jokes became very obvious, crowds could see through comedians' jokes, which instantly removed the humor out of comedy. And as all of this was happening, there was a groundbreaking technology gaining a lot of popularity that completely brought the sitcom comedy boom era to an end: the internet. Late 90s to early 2000s saw the birth of online humor. In its early days, internet was very messy, unfiltered, and mostly text-based. Humor lived in forums, message boards, and online communities. And I feel like this allowed people to explore a more unconventional sense of humor. Especially when all the comedy that you could see on TV was very boring, and people exploring this unconventional sense of humor was reflected in platforms like 4chan, Reddit, or video game lobbies, where insults, slurs, and being edgy was an everyday thing.
Fucking game and talking. Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to fucking shoot a gun, you riot shield. What else you riot shield?
Some people will say crazy shit, and some others will just hear him. But anyways, you were surrounded by crazy shit. Sites like YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit matured. And this basically shaped the meme culture. Heavily marked by irony and absurdity, memes basically became the new punchline. We're talking about a period of time in the mid-2000s to the early 2010s, with also aligns with the development years of a generation that basically grew up online, Gen Z. We could say that being edgy, insults, slurs, irony, absurdity was basically the soil Gen Z grew up in, which pretty much shaped the Gen Z humor. Other generations talk about the Gen Z humor as if it's some sort of super complex math problem, you know, when in reality it's just a massive inside joke you're just not part of. I think the Gen Z humor is defined by a couple of things, but mainly two: layers of irony and a lot of absurdity. We could also include some edginess there, but if you Google Gen Z humor, you're gonna encounter a lot of memes that mock depression, politics, economy, identity, but also expressing a perspective on those. It's kind of like you're trying to send a message across, but not really, you know? That's pretty much what makes the Gen Z humor so complicated. It's just too ironic, too absurd. Where do you even begin to explain it? You just don't have enough context. You don't even know where to start. And if you ever try to explain it, you just feel so fucking dumb. Cause it kind of feels like maybe you don't even get it. But how did Gen Z become so sensitive? Growing up seeing millennial edgy humor, shock jokes, stereotypes, punching down. It just desensitized the audience, the Gen Zers. There was so much edgy humor online that shock value just stopped being impressive. This basically forced comedians and regular users to just get smarter with how they use irony and absurdity and edginess and tone and self-awareness. I can laugh at very edgy and fucked up shit, but when I'm with my close group of friends, because I know we all share the same sense of humor. But getting on stage in a room where there is 50 to 100 people with different age ranges, they all grew up different and they have a completely different sense of humor, you can't just go on stage and say some fucked up shit and expect that everybody's gonna laugh the same. Now, is there people that get offended very easy? Sure, absolutely. But that's not unique to Gen Z. If there is something integrating all generations together, is being a little bitch.
This is such bullshit! I've never been so pissed in my whole life! I just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah!
I want that truck off my lawn!
You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh.
You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh. You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh. You gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh.
The only reason why I would want to cancel Eminem is because what the fuck is that shit? Now to summarize, I don't think Gen Z ruined comedy. I think we just moved the goalpost for what's funny. I'm sorry, all your slurs and stereotypes and punching down don't make me laugh. The truth is, it's not impressive, it's nothing new. I've been hearing and saying far worse shit online. Honestly, I enjoy my Instagram reels a lot.
I planned each charted course, each careful step.
Congratulations, congratulations. We'll win our operation against the occupation.
1, 2.
Listen, the art in comedy is not to just get on stage and say some crazy shit, but to get away with it. And to get away with it, you have to be smart and funny.